Happy Tuesday. It's Ask the Etiquette Expert, always every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jacqueline Whitmore, your host every Tuesday, and I have a very special guest today. I'm occasionally bringing on guests from time to time because I'm often asked about certain subjects that maybe I'm not specifically an expert in, that someone else can answer in a better way or bring a new perspective. And that's exactly what today's guest is going to be. Before I bring her on, I'm going to introduce to you Millie Inoa. Millie and I were introduced by a dear friend, a mutual friend who lives in South Florida. And actually, Millie is living in South Florida now. She has 20 years experience as an estate manager in Palm Beach, St. Bart's, Connecticut, and New York City. She left her career managing and organizing some of the world's most successful people to start her own business. Her business is called Unpacked N Tidy. More than just an ordinary professional organizer, she comes with her own methods for high touch service. And anyone who has ever worked in the estate management business knows that that is truly a high touch business. With her expertise on household training, creating functional systems, and high quality organization, she can now bring this concierge service to your home. And today we're going to be talking about how to create and decorate the perfect guest bedroom. So please help me welcome Millie Inoa. Hi, Millie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. It's so good to have you. And you're only the second guest on Ask the Etiquette Expert. So I'm really thrilled to see you again for the second time. We have spoken a couple of times via email and once via Zoom. So now I can share how wonderful you are with the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, before we begin, I know you have some tips for us on how to create and decorate the perfect guest bedroom. But I'm curious, how did you get started in this business? Because you are so much more than just a professional organizer. You have such a illustrious background. Can you just tell us a little bit about your journey?
Sure. I've worked for county and I've worked for corporate. And then I landed a job at a private estate, a 15-acre estate. And I was fascinated by how they ran this estate. They ran it like a hotel. They had so many managers just in each different section of the home. And I just learned so much about how to take care of a home, how to take care of your guests, just how to anticipate events and event planning. So there are so many different things that I learned. And then I went on to another position as an estate manager, and I started in Boca Raton. And for 15 years, I worked for one private family within many different states. And because of that, I just love organizing. I learned to appreciate it and so many different facets of it. So that's how I started.
Well, let's tell our viewers a little bit about what an estate manager does, because if you've never heard of that title, it may sound interesting to you. So tell us, what is the scope or the responsibilities?
The scope is taking care of the home, working with contractors, working with the landscapers, working with the staff, managing the staff, making sure that the staff is running the home from day-to-day work, from doing groceries, turning over the bedrooms, managing dog walkers, anything that breaks down in the home, like if the AC needs to be repaired, you're calling an AC company to come and take care of the repairs. And also, it can also entail working with the accountants and the lawyers to the principal. So the principal, that you're being a personal assistant to the principal and being a conduit and kind of the glue to manage that home in its entirety.
Now, these are people who have massive, massive amounts of money.
Yes.
Oftentimes they have multiple homes in
Yes.
various exotic locations, like I mentioned, New York City, St. Bart's, Palm Beach, the Caribbean. And you're the contact person or the conduit between the principal and everyone else, so that that person's life can be a little less stressful. Is that right?
You want it to run seamless. You're doing all the behind the scenes so that they can do what they do best, whatever it is that they do. You're there to make their life stress-free as possible. So you're putting out all the fires before they even know that there was a fire. That's the goal. And you're creating this team. You have your staff, you have the housekeepers, the gardeners, and you have this team, and you're working together to serve that principal. And that is your job. It's to serve the principal, and you're working as a team. And that's one thing that I loved about being an estate manager, was really looking at each individual person that I supervised and helping them become the best that they could be in their own position.
Now, you've taken all of the knowledge that you have collected all these years. You've started your own business, Unpacked N Tidy, and anyone can hire you now. And let's say I need help. I'm going to move, and I need help organizing my entire house. Is this something you do, or am I just simplifying it too much? Can you explain a little bit in more detail about what your perfect client might look like?
So I had a client that I moved about 8 times within 10 years, within 3 different states. And she'd hand me the key, and then I'd take care of the rest. I would hire the moving company. And a lot of these estates, they have very expensive art pieces. So that has to be handled in a certain way. You can't just have a regular mover handle the art work. So usually I would have the movers, and then I would have art movers for specific things. And I would get them packed. I developed a method of moving and packing, and I would unpack each move myself and organize each room in that home so that when the owner came home, it was in livable conditions.
Yes. So let's say a person comes to you and she doesn't have multiple homes, and she doesn't move eight times in, I don't know, 10 years, but she would like, or he would like, more help organizing their home. What kinds of things could you do for, I call it the average person, but for people who might not be at that estate level?
Well, how I would handle it is, the best way is to start decluttering months in advance, because then that's less money that you would have to pay to get things packed and unpacked and moved, and paying a premium when you can declutter the home first. And that's how I would start. I would declutter, and then we would figure out, if you're moving into a new home and I have the scope of that home, we could start labeling things where those specific boxes are going to, what rooms they're going to be going to. So it just makes it easier than just getting all the boxes packed and moved. I am labeling them. I am labeling each box, like box number 1, master, what is in that box. And as the movers are packing, I'm running around like a chicken without a head. However, it makes it a lot easier when you're unpacking.
Mm-hmm. And before we go on to the presentation, which I think that's why a lot of people are going to be tuning in, but finally, I think we all know a hoarder, someone who just doesn't want to part with his or her, let's say, children's baby shoes, and not just the baby shoes, but anything and everything that the children have collected over the years, plus everything else. How do you handle a situation like that?
Very delicately. I never tell my clients to throw things out. That's not my job, because every client is in a different stage in their life. And I really try to listen to them and really honor what they're saying. So if there are certain things, let's say if you have 10 items that you're really attached to, and you really do want to get rid of some, we kind of have a discussion as to how we can keep these items, but not just keep them in a box. Let's figure out how we can display them. And that helps. But it's a very delicate situation. And you just really have to have a lot of patience with the clients.
I would agree. That is a delicate situation. And that's why you do what you do so well. For those of you who are just joining us, welcome. I'm Jacqueline Whitmore, and my guest today is Millie Inoa. She is a professional organizer and also the founder of Unpacked N Tidy. And we're going to talk about how to create and decorate the perfect guest bedroom, because hopefully all of us will be going somewhere this summer, maybe to a relative house or a friend's house. Maybe you'll have company come over to your home. And we want to make sure that we make our guests feel extremely comfortable. And Millie, I know you've put together some visuals for us, which I'll show in just a minute. And for those of you who would like to ask a question for Millie, you can just leave it in the comments and we can see your questions and I can pull them up as we go along. But in the meantime, I'd like to just start our slide presentation. And if you could just walk us through this a little bit. I know this first slide doesn't say too much, but this is one of your guest bedrooms, isn't it?
It is. I love pops of color, as you can tell. But it just, I mean, think about it. You walk into a guest bedroom, the first thing you're going to see is the bed. And it's just a beautiful way to present your pillows with a nice comforter or a duvet cover that has a pop of color to it, or just even very inviting. So it's nice to have shams of different sizes. And it's a good way to say, welcome home to your guests.
Well, I'm going to tell a little secret. I've been known to go to hotels, and when I really, really like the bedding, I will oftentimes lift the mattress up to see what type of mattress it is, what type of sheets they use. I'm a real stickler for nice bedding. I mean, that is so important to me.
Yes.
Well, we've got another slide here. Tell us about this one.
Well, look at this. It's so nice to have a seating area in your guest room. And as you can see in this photo, there's a book, and it doesn't have to be in a regular bookshelf. You can just make it into a nice bookshelf, make it look pretty. And it's nice for them to be able to have a place where they can sit and change their shoes and also relax, and also maybe have a diffuser nearby so that they can have their room smelling lovely.
I also notice in this picture you have a light, because a lot of people like to read when they go on vacation. They like to put their feet up and they like to read. And I think that's a really good thing to have, especially nearby in a chair, nearby a chair.
Yes. And nowadays, you have these smart TVs and you can put a nice fireplace on your TV.
Absolutely. And you can stream music.
Yes.
And that's a lot of fun too. Tell us about this next slide.
So for here, you want to have a nice nightstand. You want to have squishy pillows. You want to have firm pillows. Some people like really squishy pillows. Some people like firm pillows. I like to provide both types of pillows for my guests, and have fresh linens and towels available.
Now, all of this sounds like common sense to me.
Yes.
But some people don't think about these little details. And what I hear you saying, it's the details that make the difference. It's the not just offering one kind of pillow, but maybe you offer a foam pillow versus a feather pillow. Maybe you have a lighter blanket versus a heavier blanket because some people get very warm at night. Maybe you even have a fan in the room in case someone likes that whirring sound to lull them to sleep.
Yes, or even a sound machine.
That's right. And I also think that fragrance is very important. I mean, now some people are allergic to fragrance, and that's something to be mindful of. But it also, I think aromatherapy might be nice, or just maybe fresh flowers. What are your thoughts about putting living things in the room? And I don't mean animals.
No, I like a good fresh flowers make all the difference. They really do. And also, like you said, a diffuser. I like to leave little different types of oils, essential oils that they can put in the diffuser so they can choose their own scent if they'd like to. But definitely fresh flowers, it's just welcoming to your guests. They just feel so special.
Yes, and I like your idea about having a robe in your guest room. And I've been in hotels where they have those prepackaged slippers and you can take them with. And of course, I love to take the extra soaps and the shower caps and all of that and save those things for my guests.
Yes.
So let's talk about the nightstand.
Nightstand. A little extra gift is a little journal with a nice pen. So here, I mean, it's Florida. A lot of people come to Florida, and I say, take a journal and go to the beach or go to the pool and just be able to write your experiences. In the nightstand, I also love to have a charging station, because how many times have you traveled and then you're thinking, oh my goodness, I forgot my charger for my phone. Just something that simple, but having a charging station that you can charge not only the iPhones, but the Samsungs or the Androids, and chocolates.
Chocolate is always good.
Yes, for that midnight snack, because maybe your guests do not want to go into your kitchen to help themselves in the middle of the night. So they have their snacks next to their bed.
I once stayed at someone's home, and on the dresser, they had this little wicker basket, and it was full of little snacks like peanuts and power bars and chocolates and bottled water. Because I think like you said, people don't want to get up and go in your kitchen in the middle of the night and search for the water bottle. So that's right there in their room. So it's those little things.
Yes. And even in the nightstand, I love having fun books.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes. Not only the serious novels and how-to books, but fun books. Or maybe puzzles. People love crossword puzzles.
Yes, they do. So here you'll see a basket with water, healthy snacks, a sleep mask. Maybe the room is too bright for them. So, you want to have a sleep mask. And sometimes, here in Florida, a lot of my guests, they'll come with their sunscreen, but then forget their face sunscreen. And it's so hot out. This is where you can have fun with it. What about the things that you love? Maybe you love a certain type of item and you put it in a basket for them and you're sharing what you love.
Yes, yes. I love that you mentioned sunscreen because when people come to Florida, they don't realize how harsh the sun is here and compared to where they might be otherwise. And beach towels too, that they can take with them instead of taking your good towels from the bathroom.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's a great point.
I like that idea. What about this one?
So this is just going the extra mile for your guests. You know, provide them the Wi-Fi password, because sometimes you're enjoying your guests when they get here, when they get to your home, and then everybody goes to sleep and they're like, oh my goodness, I need the Wi-Fi password. Or for instance, you can print out a list of your favorite restaurants that you want them to go visit. So just thinking about different things, because sometimes your schedule may not, they're on vacation. So maybe you're working, or maybe you're working on some projects and you can't attend to your guests 24/7. So provide them fun activities or events that are happening, whether it's like the museum. The museum has constant exhibitions and events happening and lectures. Uh, Having that on a sheet of paper where they can say, oh, this is a great restaurant, or this is a great idea, maybe we should go here while the principal or you are doing your own thing. So that's a good way to just go the extra mile. And also a welcome note, just to say, I'm so
Oh,
happy that you're here.
yes. That is the detail that keeps on giving, but little welcome note in your own handwriting. And if some people travel with their pets, and it's always nice to have something for um, the little dog that they travel with. That also earns some extra brownie points too.
Oh, absolutely. And also, you want to also provide your nearest vet in case there's an emergency, or your nearest urgent care in case there's an emergency. It's just nice to have that on hand for them.
And I'll talk just a second about being a great guest, but what comes to mind is that you have to be able to entertain yourself. Don't expect the host to entertain you 24/7, because sometimes the host may have to work or they have other obligations. And as long as you're providing all of these things that you're suggesting, the maps, the things to do, the great restaurants, I mean, there's really no excuse.
Yes, hence the list of places to go and visit.
Yes, exactly. So this is where our guests can reach you. You're on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn,
Yes.
and your website is Unpacked and Tidy. It's the letter N, Tidy. And you're located where?
I'm serving the Palm Beach County area. I'm
But
located in Wellington,
but
Florida.
I'm sure you do virtual consultations too.
Yes, I do. And I do travel as well.
Oh, yes, I know you do. So let's just talk a minute about how to be a gracious guest. And I'm sure you've seen all kinds of guests throughout your career, some that were not so gracious. But what are some things to keep in mind in terms of when you're traveling and you're staying in someone's home?
Um, Pick up after yourself, even though if they have a housekeeper, even if they have someone taking care of the home, it's just nice to do that. And don't overstay your visit. I
Yes,
mean, we may have made that guest room so inviting. They may want to stay an extra 2-3 weeks.
oh, I know. And I've heard horror stories about people who were just going to stay for 2 or 3 days, and then they spring it on the host and say, oh, can I stay another 2 weeks? Because we all know how beautiful South Florida is, and all of Florida is, between the months of January and April.
Also, too, just, be thankful for your host,
Yes.
because they do want you to to feel at home, take them out to dinner one night, maybe.
Oh, that's a great idea. And write a thank you note to them.
Yes.
Yes. But absolutely pick up after yourself. Be a gracious guest so that you'll be invited back. So, and if anyone has any questions for Millie, please leave them in the comments section. We would love to hear from you. And if you like this weekly series, please give us a like, a subscribe, a thumbs up, a heart, something just to let us know that you're here. And for those of you who are viewing, just leave in the comments where you're viewing from, where you're living right now, because that's always interesting too for our guests to know who's calling in. So, well, any last tips or tricks that our viewers should know about how to create the perfect and most comfortable and cozy guest bedroom?
I say make it fun. Do what you love. Add what you love in the gift basket. It doesn't have to be $500. I mean, it's just a small token of your appreciation of having your friends over. And so, yeah, pick the products that you love and share it with your friends. You could be Oprah to them. Your favorite things on your favorite list.
Yes, I mean, that's always a great idea because you're introducing them maybe even to your own culture and things that were made in your native country, or if you're from a state that is famous for something, it's always nice to leave them with a lovely parting gift. And I always keep in mind what their preferences are as well. I always ask, are there any dietary preferences that I should be aware of? And do you like coffee or tea? What do you like in your coffee or tea? Do you eat sweets? The little things that I just keep in mind, because I know that these are things that also make people feel comfortable.
Yes, a coffee station and a tea station is, oh, I love it.
Yes. If we all had room for that. I live in a little tiny cottage in Mount Dora. So I don't have room in my guest room for that, but I certainly have a Keurig, and I can provide all different types of coffees. And so it's a lot of fun. Like you said, have fun. That's the main thing. So Millie, it was a pleasure. Again, Millie Inoa, she is a professional organizer. She's the founder of Unpacked N Tidy, the N Tidy. And I encourage everybody to just read up on her and contact her through her website. And Manuel said he loves the idea of being Oprah. That's a great tip. Thank you, Manuel. So I think we are just about out of time, and I want to say thank you, Millie, for your hospitality. And it's great to finally meet you after all of this time.
Yes, it was a pleasure being on your show. Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Well, until next time, we'll see you later. So, and if you just stay on the line, Millie, we'll just have a little chat after we're done. So thank you, everybody, for viewing, and we'll see you next week.